to Road Ahead 2021, the Progressive Community's only conference dedicated to ballot measures. Thank you so much to the over 800 people who are joining us today. 490 of you have never been to Road Ahead before. Just one of the great things about being virtual. So let's start with some introductions. My 2021 name is Chris Melody Fields Figueredo. I am the Executive Director of the Ballot Initiative Strategy Center, and my pronouns are she, her, ella. And I come to you from the traditional lands of the Anacostan and Piscataway people who have been stewards of the land we now call Washington, D.C. for generations. And I'm so excited to be joined with my friend and co-MC for today, Prentice Haney.
Hey. Hello, everyone. My name is Prentice Haney, and my pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the co-executive director of the Ohio Organizing Collaborative, a statewide community organizing organization building power for everyday Ohioans. And I am joining you all from the traditional lands of the Hopewell and Shawnee people in Ohio. And we must remember that we all live on stolen and sacred land, and our liberation is connected to the indigenous communities who also seek sovereignty.
That's right, Prentice. We must center our indigenous communities in our work. You know, Road Ahead is one of my favorite parts about being at BIS because it's when I get to be with you in Vegas, usually, in our community that really just keeps building and dreaming with us. You are what makes Road Ahead special, and you inspire our work at BIS. If I'm being honest with everyone, I have not been the best version of myself in the last year. But what gives me hope, why I know we will build a world where equity and justice prevail, is the brilliance and resilience of this community. And Road Ahead is a celebration of that, of you. That's why we named this year Resilience and Brilliance.
Chris, I love that. You know, one of my favorite things about Road Ahead is that you all inspire audacity in the practitioners in the field. We go big because y'all dream big, so we go big. Road Ahead has provided a roadmap for how we can shift culture in our work and build durable people-centered power. The research you all have provided us in Ohio and other states back up what we already know around Black, Latinx, AAPI, and the indigenous folks and young folks, that they trust ballot measures to make the impact that can happen in our communities more than candidates. And what I love more than anything is that you fight and make sure we have a seat at the table.
That means so much, Prentice. You and our community is everything to us at BISC. Before we get started on today's programs, I do want to set some expectations. Road Ahead is different this year, and it's not just because we're virtual. We are giving you a very compact schedule. Today looks back at 2020 and unpacks our learnings on ballot measures and the resilience of our people. Tomorrow, we'll focus on our path forward and the brilliance that is required to build the world that our people deserve. You know, we have all been living in the world of Zoom for over a year now, and we know how hard it is to be on screen more than 2 to 3 hours straight. So think of today and tomorrow as an amuse-bouche, a taste to your palate to tickle it and inspire you. And we'll end each day with 20 to 30-minute breakout sessions that draw from the day's conversation so you can dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, we know being online all the time is so hard, but we have great engagement tools for this conference. So just take a minute and look at your left side of your screen here. There are engagement tools such as the agenda, profiles. There's some amazing people you should check out. And then also there's a community engagement tab where you can create discussions about today's sessions or even suggest virtual meetups. I saw someone talk about karaoke and I'm like, wait, I got to see what people can do. What chops you got? I want to hear your best lip sync if you're actually going to do that karaoke session.
That's right.
And also the other piece is down here on the bottom lower right screen. For our differently able community, we have an ASL interpreter to make sure that you all can have the access you need.
Yeah, I really love, Prentice, how people are already engaging, like already talking about, karaoke next year in Vegas. 2020 was really hard in so many ways. It further laid bare the racial and economic inequity that exists in the systems that were not designed to the benefit of Black, Latinx, Asian Pacific Islander, Indigenous, and other marginalized people. And that did not change with the start of a new year. The insurrection on January 6th, the tragedies in the last couple of weeks in Atlanta and Boulder, They're all reminders of how deeply painful this year has already been. But I'm turning to the words of activist Grace Lee Boggs to remind me people must not only struggle against the existing institutions in order to change and transform the world, they must change and transform themselves.
It is true. We must transform ourselves and we must do it together. We can build state power. We can dismantle white supremacy. We can build a new economy and a new democracy, and we can do it together. We find liberation, and we can use the ballot measure system as a tool to do that. And guess what? We can do it while looking good.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much, Prentice, for opening this day up with me. And I honestly cannot think of anyone who is more at the forefront of dismantling those systems of oppression that you named and understanding exactly how intertwined our liberation is to each other than today's keynote and the co-founder of the Black Lives Matter, Patrisse Cullors. Thank you so much. Enjoy today.
Thank you, Chris, and the Ballot Initiative Strategy Center for inviting me to speak with you all today. And thank you as well for your commitment to building power at the grassroots level. Ballot measures are a central part of my theory of change. My first step into this realm was last year with Measure R and LA County. Me and a whole bunch of folks were sick and tired of watching the abuse and violence perpetuated in our jails by Sheriff Villanueva. He was filling the jails with folks who were chronically homeless, people who had issues with substance dependency, people who had mental health issues, and people who just couldn't afford bail. And he was accountable to no one. So we decided to hold him accountable. In less than 5 months, we collected nearly 250,000 signatures. That's over 100,000 more than we needed. But each signature was a chance to organize and educate our community about the issue and the power we, not some elected official, had to change. There was no waiting for politicians to act or watching special interests water down meaningful reforms, just the community coming together to demand change. We brought together a team led by Black women and made up of system-impacted folks who wanted to take policy into their own hands. And in March of 2020, we won with 73% of the vote. Our coalition of advocates transformed into Reform LA Jails, an organization in LA County that is continuing the fight. That was just the beginning. The summer uprising in response to the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, and too many others made clear that our communities wanted transformative change. When we say defund the police, we mean it. We were tired of decades of tinkering around the edges, more body cameras, banning chokeholds. None of these things worked in the past, and they weren't going to work now. We wanted and need bold reimagining of real public safety that focuses on investing in health, environmental justice, housing justice, and all the other things that really keep us secure. Once again, we saw politicians unwilling to meet the moment. So in LA, we took things in our own hands. Justice LA, BLM LA, Reform LA Jails, and other community organizations came together to create and fight for Measure J. Measure J explicitly directed up to 10% or at least $500 million of discretionary spending to local communities and alternatives to incarceration. This money used to be poured into punishment. Measure J was our way of putting defund directly on the ballot. And once again, we won. This time with 57% of the vote. The lesson here is people-powered ballot measures tap into and amplify the power we have in the streets. They are a profound way to bring the movement into the halls of power. And right now, the movement is calling for defunding the police and reimagining public safety. How can you all use your expertise to meet their needs? Is it a ballot measure cutting police budgets or prohibiting cops in schools? Is it decriminalizing or legalizing the harm and violence that leads to the majority of arrests? Is it removing the need for a police force from the municipal charter itself? Be bold, be imaginative, but above all, tap into your communities in an intentional and meaningful way. Listen to what they want and help design campaigns that will achieve those goals and create sustainability in the long term. We'll all be better for it. Thank y'all so much.